Hi, good morning, everyone. It is Monday. Happy Monday, July 14th. And it is about, I think it's like 10:30 a.m. here in Chicago. So, do you guys get like spam text messages, like places offering you like these $300,000 a year jobs and whatnot? And like, hi, like I just got one that said, "Hi, this is Andrea from Warner Brothers," and this, that, and the other. Like you're about to respond, "Oh, I'd love the opportunity. What do you need? You need my social?" It's like, how dumb do they think you are? But here's what I wanted to say. Regarding the Shakur fight, it's like there are so many backhanded compliments on his win, which is fine. It's just boxing, so it ain't that deep. But what I don't understand is why people feel the need to say things like, if Shakur fights this person the way he fought Cepeda, if Shakur fights that person the way he fought this person, he'll get knocked out. Um, you do understand that a boxer with Shakur's intelligence knows how to fight each individual fighter, right? There's no rule that says he has to fight a certain fighter the same way as he fought another fighter. That's not even smart. That's not even smart. So, yeah, Shakur knows how to fight everybody in front of him, and they're all going to be different. So, you're not like you're hoping to make him look lesser than whoever your favorite fighter is. You're hoping to like say, yeah, he won, but he won't beat this person if he fights that way. Well, he's not going to fight that way to beat that person. I'll use Tank for an example because Tank is a perfect example. If you're saying if Shakur fights Zepeda, if Shakur fights Tank the way he fought Zepeda, he's going to get knocked out. Well, what are you really saying, and does it really matter? Because Shakur is going to know how to fight Tank Davis. Why do you think Tank has avoided him for so long? Even Tank knows that comment doesn't make any sense. It's like saying, but you can't do this. Okay, you just did this, but can you do this? You just did this, but can you do this? They keep like not changing the goalposts, but people just don't want to come out and say that he's a very, very good defensive fighter. And people don't want to come out and say they really don't know who wins because both guys are very skilled. And Shakur has a type of skill that can overcome somebody else having a lot more power. They don't want to say that. So instead, you got to hear about how if he chooses to fight a fighter this way. But to me, that doesn't make any sense to say that. He's not going to fight certain fighters the way he fights other fighters. He's too intelligent for that. So again, I don't really understand what the point is in saying that. That's like me stepping into a puddle, but I have boots up to my knees, and the puddle comes just a little bit below my knees, so none of my leg gets wet. But that's like somebody saying if you wore ankle boots, your legs would have gotten wet. Well, I had enough sense not to wear ankle boots. It's like, like, what does it even mean? He's not going to fight Tank the way he fought Cepeda. He didn't fight Cepeda the way he fought De Los Santos. But you're not really saying anything because intelligent boxers use different types of boxing with different fighters, And speaking of De Los Santos, people still absolutely refuse to make that man responsible in any way, shape, or form for his loss to Shakur. They refuse to hold him accountable for anything at all. Everything about that fight was Shakur's fault. And I just don't get it. Wasn't De Los Santos the one that pulled up in Newark and was all Billy Badass, I'm in your hood, and he really called for that fight? He got the fight, he got in the ring, and he let Shakur pretty much control what went on in the ring. Yeah, it was boring. And guess what? Your boy De Los Santos let it be as boring as Shakur wanted it to be. It didn't have to be boring because De Los Santos could have done things where he would be taking risks, but he would be forcing Shakur to engage. He chose not to do that. And you're mad about it, but you don't want to hold him responsible. De Los Santos clearly is not that intelligent of a boxer. Not as intelligent as people think. Because he did not know what to do with Shakur. And yes, the outcome was a very boring fight. But you can't blame one person on that. Like, I have not seen any of these De Los Santos fans making him take any responsibility. I saw a comment yesterday on Dante's page. If Shakur had fought De Los Santos like that, because De Los Santos is faster and this and that, and Shakur would have gotten knocked out. Well, guess what? Shakur did not get knocked out. He won. He beat De Los Santos. You know why? Because he fights different fighters differently. I just don't understand that argument. It doesn't make sense to me. But what else was I going to talk about? Most people, with good, I guess, discernment is the word, kind of side more with Remy and Papoose. Clarissa and Papoose than they do with Remy, right? Because the way we all know the story, Remy was the one in the wrong. And she still refuses to, really take responsibility. And I'm not saying she has to publicly apologize, but at least shut the fuck up. Instead, she's talking about how broke he was and this, that, and the other, So most people are more siding with, Clarissa and Papoose. But I do feel like some of the things they're doing now, they're doing too much. Like one guy posted how Remy was at the fight, mean mugging Clarissa from across the ring or whatever. First of all, Remy has been going to fights. So she's not showing up to a fight just to bump into Clarissa and Papoose. That's not true. She's been going to fights, and she was part of the act that came out with, Edgar Berlanga, poor thing, So she's been going to fights. And then secondly, how the hell do you know who she's mean mugging from that far of a distance? First of all, she's from the Bronx, so she never looks like It's a Wonderful Life. She always looked like she got a little bit of an attitude, right? So, and it didn't even look like she was mean mugging to me. And then even if she was mean mugging, how do you know who she's mean mugging? Clarissa is all the way in a different area. People are really, really stretching now to make it look like she's just so hateful of their relationship. And maybe she is, but I still think that people are doing too much. So I just thought that was interesting. But yeah, Edgar Berlanga, poor thing, damn it, he got fucked up. And somebody said it looked like he didn't prepare at all for that fight. And they said that, he thinks because he fought Canelo, he doesn't have to put in the same type of work for each fighter. I hope that's not true, because that would be the hardest part to live with. To know that you kind of could have controlled that outcome, but you slept on somebody. That would be harder to live with. If I get fucked up like that, I would really rather it be because the other boxer just had my number that night. Despite how hard I trained, there was a mistake that I always make, maybe, that he capitalized on. I would rather it be any of the above over me having underestimated that fighter and I got knocked the fuck out. That would be the hardest to live with, actually. So I hope that's not true for Berlanga. But, he'll be back. I kind of like Edgar Berlanga, so, And then Matias, I don't think it was a robbery, but I do see where, Puello could have definitely gotten the win. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm happy Matias won. I'm happy Matias won. And said, who else? Gary Antoine wants the winner, so Gary Antoine wants Matias. I think Gary Antoine still really wants Puello, though. I think he does. Maybe he'll fight both of them. Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. Everyone's talking about how they think Haney's going to pull out of the fight, or they think that he's going to try and act like Brian Norman Jr. must be on some type of substances. I hope Bill Haney doesn't do that. And I know a lot of you guys really love Bill Haney. I don't care for him. I don't care for him. And I hope it's not true that he would try something like that. But I do see him. I see him trying something like that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe come fight night, Devin Haney will get in that ring and fight Brian Norman Jr. And I do think that Devin Haney's defense, when he's not trying to bang, because don't count the Ryan fight. That was Haney trying to do something that wasn't even really his comfort zone. If he really goes in there and fights his fight, I think that he definitely has a chance greater than what most people think. So we'll see about that one, that fight. And then who else was I going to speak on? Morrell. I think, I got a disclaimer. I didn't even see the whole fight. I saw the highlights. But from what I saw, I would have given that fight to Morrell, I think. And I was so happy he won. So is it fair to say I got two gifts over the weekend? Matias and Morrell? Maybe. But I do think those fights were close enough to where can't nobody talk about no robbery. Can't nobody talk about no robbery. But I was very, very happy, especially for Morrell. Morrell came through, man. He made a few mistakes, but he came through. And then, let me see, who else? I know I'm missing somebody. Damn. But yeah, I think it was a underestimated night of fights. I think, the whole set of fights were one of the best, I think, in a while. I really liked all the options we had of fights over the weekend. I really do. I hate that I can't think of what else I was going to say. Let me go through these fighters real quick in my mind. 135 is Shakur, Tank, Abdullah Mason, Kid Austin. What's up with his father, clout chasing Shakur real bad? He's a clout chaser. He's really annoying. Kid Austin's father is very, very annoying. And it's an insult to our intelligence for him to come after Shakur. Of all people, you guys backed out of that fight at the very last second. And stop trying to get a fight with him. Your son cannot beat Shakur on any given day. Just stop. Who are you kidding? Whose time are you wasting? That's all you're doing is wasting time, and you're using Shakur's name to build up your son. But your son had the opportunity, and he decided not to take it. I don't care what anybody says. He could have taken that fight. He backed out of that fight, So, just like Frank Martin did, But, it is what it is. But, yeah, he's a big-time clout chaser. Now, let's go through 140. T.O. Is T.O. still at 140? I don't know. T.O. Haney moved up for Brian Norman Jr. Gary Antoine wants Puello or Matias. He probably wants both. Africa and Gary Antoine would be a great fight. And there's a lot of other good fighters at 140 I didn't name. But, yeah, salute to them. Then 147, Haney and Brian Norman Jr. Boots hasn't moved up yet, has he? What is Boots doing? Boots, really? Really, Boots? What are you doing? And then 154. I don't even know who's at 154 anymore. Oh, Xander Zayas. And some other people, of course. And then at 160, we got Andrade. And, tell me what you think about my idea. Demetrius Andrade versus Jamal Charlo in Kingston, Jamaica, as a salute to Mike McCallum. Right? How's that sound? That sounds good, right? I proposed that in Just Do's chat. Salute to Just Do. Demetrius Andrade versus Jamal Charlo at 160, Kingston, Jamaica, in honor of Mike McCallum. And it'll have a name kind of like, Thriller, Manila, Rumble in the Jungle. But they'll name it something like, Throwdown in Jam Rock. Or uh the Jam Rock Showdown or something like that. Like that'll be cool. I'm all for it. A good excuse to travel to Jamaica too. But anyway, that's all. Have a good day.